Okay folks, it's time for a special report about Kurt Metzger. Now you might not recognize his face, but you definitely recognize his voice, as he was one of the lead characters in the massive hit adult cartoon Ugly Americans. But Kurt's rise to power has been anything but organic. Now it is true that Kurt was raised Jehovah's Witness and was even an ordained minister himself. That is, until he happened upon the comedy of Marlon Wayans. And it was Kurt's love of the 1998 classic comedy hit Senseless that started his journey away from his religion. You see, this film that's full of comedic gold is also full of scientific truths that clashed with Kurt's long-held beliefs. And after Kurt read that Marlon Wayans' father was himself a Jehovah's Witness and that Marlon had rebelled and not followed in his father's footsteps, Kurt knew what he had to do: completely copy everything about Marlon Wayans. So the new Kurt emerges and hits the comedy scene hard. People had never seen an open micer with such charisma, but they had no idea he was just emulating Marlon Wayans in the 1998 classic Senseless. And after his performance on Showtime's White Boys in the Hood, Kurt gets approached by a big-time talent firm, LK Management. Apparently, Kurt naively signed with this company, but it could be argued that he didn't have any other offers anyways, so why not? Well, soon, Kurt found out exactly why he should have not. So after a couple weeks, Kurt gets set up with his first LK Management gig, and Kurt does his regular stand-up set to a packed room and does well. But he's dumbfounded when after his stand-up comedy set, two men wearing suits set up a projector and give a PowerPoint presentation on timeshares in Florida. And apparently after another few odd gigs like this that ended in someone attempting to sell products to the crowd, Kurt went back to his contract and actually read what he had agreed to. You see, LK Management is actually a high-level pyramid scheme owned by Lenny Kravitz. It's basically the new Enron, and once you're in, it's pretty much impossible to get out. This devious company uses celebrities' magnetizing power to get would-be customers in the room and sell them on any bogus product that comes across their greedy hands. So now Kurt realized the truth. He was under Lenny's complete control, and disturbingly, Kurt didn't even put up a fight. You see, Kurt didn't mind the perks of LK Management. After all, they give you good gigs, good pay, and you're getting your name out there and legitimately becoming famous. And maybe it was the structure that felt familiar to religion, or maybe it was simply greed. But within a few years, Kurt Metzger is at the highest pyramid level attainable, along with Danny Bonaducci just below Lenny himself. And now, Kurt's so high up at his job, he's actually the one duping young new talent into signing with LK just like he was. And Kurt rose this high in the ranks because his methods were devious. You see, Kurt knew that sex sells, of course, but everyone at the firm used beautiful women to draw in crowds. Kurt needed something different, something stupid. So after a year of studying advanced mathematics and human attraction, Kurt cracked a crooked code. Now you might have heard of the Fibonacci sequence, and that's a mathematical code that's used to calculate the golden ratio that is found in all of nature, and some link it to beauty and facial proportions. But Kurt discovered a new sinister sequence that's not based on the golden ratio, but instead the stupid ratio. You see, in his research, Kurt found that of course beauty scored quite high on straight men's attraction charts, but he discovered that even more sought after than beauty is the trait of stupidity. Now apparently this is all occurring on a subconscious level, but according to Kurt's findings, men are generally drawn towards women who appear to be less intelligent so they can get away with more bad deeds. Whether it's extramarital affairs or talking your straight wife into participating in a threesome, aka gay sex. Men seem to find great benefit in a partner who can't think for themselves. And as we all know, how you look doesn't actually dictate your intelligence, but apparently there's a primal side of men's brains that can easily fall for this dumb-looking face. And so Kurt Metzger is the only reason the public has ever even heard of Rihanna or Selena Gomez. And of course, Kurt's newest recruit, Ella Purnell. Men seem to find these dumb-looking faces irresistible, and that's how Kurt rose to the top of LK Management. And he's faced virtually no resistance other than a few comedians who have called him out online, and of course the onstage Louis J. Gomez fight that was caused by, of course, Kurt giving Louis the light early so his team could get on stage to sell Neosporin. And though Kurt kept his cool through this exchange while Louis lost it, I think when Louis yelled out, "You've abandoned your Marlon Wayans past," that really cut Kurt deep. It was, in fact, true. It had been years since Kurt sat down in his living room with a bucket of popcorn and his favorite cream soda and watched the 1998 comedy classic Senseless. But the reality was, there was no way out of this pyramid-shaped contract. Anyone who's tried to flee Lenny's grasp has been met with swift physical punishment. So once again, it seems Kurt Metzger has doubled down into his devilish deeds. Now, you might have recently heard about the Sabian Black Egyptian temple in Bushwick, New York going up for sale. And if you don't know what that is, it's part of the Nuwaubian Nation, which is a strange and controversial religious movement that sees white people as irredeemable and demonic creatures. And that's why it was such a shock when the Brooklyn-based Egyptian temple's records went public, showing that Kurt was a major financial contributor to the church. Now, no one knows why Kurt would be supporting this of all religions, or why he's recently challenged Chris Kattan to an all-night fist fight, but it seems that Kurt's ideas are becoming less and less tethered to reality. And most recently, Kurt was seen fighting with Trippie Redd in a Seattle club, allegedly because Trippie was refusing to sign with Kurt. And Kurt had this amazing idea about getting Trippie Redd to be the new frontman for Led Zeppelin, dubbing them Trippie Redd Zeppelin. But the young rapper didn't seem to like this idea. Now, there's plenty more weird things about this guy, but we'll have to save that for another time. Until then, Kurt Metzger, you're a total bitch. Okay everyone, if you're keeping track, I think I must have passed out from smoke inhalation because I woke up face down on the ground. But thankfully my naked body was covered with forest fire ash, blending me in perfectly with the surroundings. Luckily, I made it to the beach without crossing paths with Cam Patterson or Ari Matty, but I know they're out here somewhere. I've snuck into a tiny lifeguard shack and rewired this walkie-talkie into a full holographic display system to upload this important report. This may be the last time you ever hear from me, TB Nation, as I'm going to attempt to swim to New York City. If I can make it to New York, maybe I can find a way to shut down the comedy scene for good. It's time to do as Maynard James Keenan requested in 1996 and learn to swim. TB Nation, wish me luck.